French President Nicolas Sarkozy to Brazil, where he's the guest of honor at today's National Day celebrations, the first ever European head of state to be accorded such a privilege. First and foremost, though, Mr. Sarkozy is in Brazil as the champion of French industry. At stake, a massive contract for the sale of 36 fighter aircraft to the Brazilian Air Force. France's controversial Rafale jet fighter is in competition with the US FA-18 Super Hornet and Sweden's Gripen. The contract is thought to be worth between 3 and 4 billion euros. A successful bid would give a massive shot in the arm to Dassault, the manufacturer of Rafale, which has yet to find any buyers outside of France. The deal will be the icing on the cake of a rapidly burgeoning Franco-Brazilian relationship. The Brazilian Senate has just approved the purchase of 6 billion euros worth of French military equipment. And French companies are in line to win key contracts for the development of Brazilian transport. Well, joining me now to discuss Mr. Sarkozy's visit is Paulo Burnier, who's a Brazilian lawyer and president of the Association of Brazilian Students and Researchers in France. Thanks very much for being on the programme. President Sarkozy would love to come back to France with a deal signed on the sale of Rafale to Brazil, but what chance?
This is an important moment. I don't think the price is the main issue in this discussion. These three finalists, the Swedish, the American, and the French proposals. I would say that the key element is technology. Brazil is interested in the technology.
And this is where France has a big advantage, because the French are prepared to accept a transfer of military technology, but the Americans are hedging their bets on it.
Exactly, exactly. Very recently, the Americans have made some concession in their transfer technology clause, so that makes the competition a little bit more tough. But I think that France is in an excellent position. Politically, this is the second visit to Sarkozy visit in Brazil in less than a year. That means a lot.
And so they're fourth together outside of summits over the last few months as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I personally wouldn't count on a final answer from the Brazilian government today. But since the French year in Brazil goes till November 15th, I think that we have
it's looking pretty good for France. President Lula said that France has an exceptional comparative advantage.
Yeah, exactly. He has made some statements in this sense, and yesterday in his interview he confirmed a preference to France. But again,
he's been nodding and winking pretty hard at France.
Exactly. But I understand Brazil wants to be capable of building aircraft and a strong industry. That's the main purpose. It's a matter of public policy. It's a matter of national interest.
There seems to be quite a strong relationship developing between Nicolas Sarkozy and President Lula as well. Is that a correct interpretation, do you think?
Yeah, I would say yes. I would say that the two countries, they are in a very good moment of relationship, and above all, the two presidents, they get along quite well. I would say it's correct.
What does all this say, though, the sale of so much military hardware? Because even before this deal is signed and sealed, it's the 6 million euros worth of military equipment, including 5 submarines, 50 military helicopters from France to Brazil. What does that tell us about Brazil's ambitions for itself on the continent?
Brazil, it's not about war. Brazil doesn't want to go to war. It's about controlling and surveilling the shore. Brazil has a long coast, a very important coast to the economy, for commerce and for trade and for industry.
It's also 16 times the size of France, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's a lot of territory to cover.
Exactly. And I think the main interest is to protect and develop the petroleum industry due to the recent discoveries in the
offshore,
undersea, the offshore, the undersea level.
And what about regional pretensions as the powerhouse of South America? Is that something that Brazil sees? It is already turning into the economic powerhouse of South America. Does it want to be the military powerhouse as well?
Yes, I think that there is a direct relationship by the Brazilian position in the region, and that will be certainly one of the topics discussed between President Sarkozy and President Lula. The role and the actual function of Brazil in this scenario.
Up until this point, the relationship between France and the commercial relationship between France and Brazil has tended to focus on the military aspect. But there are a lot of big French companies on this trip as well, apart from Dassault, EADS, for instance. trying to sell, and there's talk about France participating in the development of a high-speed link between Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro.
Yes.
So there's a lot going on apart from the military aspect here.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's also, you're completely right, there are the civil and the commercial civil aspects in Rio, Sao Paulo and in Brasilia as well. So I think that will also be discussed and will be important subject on the conversations.
Well, what about other aspects of this trip as well? Because it's not long before the G20 meeting in Pittsburgh, Brazil a member of the G20. Are the positions of France and Brazil pretty much on the same page?
Exactly. In the international scenario, this is another point that approximates both countries because they have a lot of opinions in common. When you discuss Security Council, when you discuss the G20, all the other 100 Gs that exist and that are being created, Brazil wants to be stronger in the international scenario. Lula has said it several times, and Sarkozy also has been an important leader in this crisis scenario and to giving the developing countries a stronger position in this.
Yeah. And as Sarkozy keeps saying, the relationship between France and Brazil is not one of suppliers and clients; it's one of partners. And he sees this as a big opportunity to develop a key partnership with Brazil.
I would say that element is the bigger difference between the American and the Swedish proposal, because even though the American has made some concession, the Boeing has made some concession in the technology issue. I would say that France is the only one among the three of them that is viewed by the Brazilian government as a partner, and not only as a contractual party, as a simple party in a contract, but a real partner. So this is a very important matter.
What about Brazil's aspirations to become a member of the United Nations Security Council? Something that France would be in a position as an existing member to help it on.
Yeah, I'll say that it's a reality that comes. It's getting near, it's closer and closer, and France's political support will be very important in this task.
In Brazil itself, what sort of profile does France have? I mean, obviously, big commercial stakes are developing. Does France really have a high profile inside Brazil? Yeah,
I would say that economically, commercially, and also culturally, the two countries are very linked together, so that helps a lot.
And is there much interchange between France and Brazil?
Yes, a lot, in different levels, and a lot. That's very important for many aspects, I would say.
Okay, and perhaps there's going to be a little bit of ribbing going on at this meeting as well, because Brazil has just beaten Argentina 3-1 in the World Cup. France isn't doing too well, is it?
Yeah, it's true that France didn't have much luck in the last game against Romania, but the Brazil, I think that the Brazilian energy by beating Argentina inside Argentina in Buenos Aires, I think that it will count as a positive to both the countries, France and Brazil.
And not too much chance at the moment of France repeating that World Cup triumph against Brazil back in Paris several years ago, 3-0. That's not going to happen, is it?
I don't know, but Brazil has won 5 times, so we have a lot of credit.
Okay, and that's all we have time for today. Thanks very much to our guest, Paulo Burnier. Please do join us again tomorrow for another edition of Top Story here on France 24. Goodbye.